Picture yourself standing on a dark beach at night. There's no moon, and the sea in front of you is black. But then a wave rolls in and breaks, and as it crashes, it lights up in a glowing, electric blue. You take a step, and your footprint in the wet sand sparkles like it's full of tiny stars. This isn't a special effect, and it isn't pollution. It's alive. Across the world, the ocean can glow in the dark, sometimes a single sparkling wave, and sometimes a glow so vast that satellites can see it from space. So why does the ocean light up at night? The answer is one of the most beautiful tricks in all of nature: living light. This glow has a name: bioluminescence, light made by living things. And the way it works is genuinely magical. Inside these creatures are two special ingredients. One is a molecule nicknamed luciferin, and the other is a helper called luciferase. When they mix together, in the presence of oxygen, they react, and that reaction releases energy as light. But here's the beautiful part. Unlike a light bulb, which wastes most of its energy as heat, this living light is almost perfectly efficient. It produces barely any heat at all. Scientists call it cold light, and it's almost always a glowing blue or blue-green, and that's no accident. Of all the colors, blue light travels the furthest through seawater, so down in the ocean, blue is the color that shines the brightest. Let's start with the glow you can actually see from a beach. It's caused by some of the tiniest creatures in the sea, single-celled plankton called dinoflagellates. There are millions upon millions of them drifting in the surface water, far too small to see. But when the water around them is suddenly disturbed by a crashing wave, a swimming fish, or your own footstep, they flash. Each one gives off a tiny spark of blue light, and together, millions of them light up the whole wave or the whole shoreline at once. On some beaches, this turns the sea into a glowing blue galaxy every single night. But why would a tiny plankton want to glow? The answer is surprisingly clever. It's a burglar alarm. Here's the trick. When a tiny predator tries to eat the plankton flashes a sudden, bright burst of light. And that flash does two things. First, it can simply startle the attacker. A sudden light in the dark is alarming, and it might just flinch and let go. But the second reason is far more cunning. That bright flash acts like a scream for help. It lights up the little predator in the darkness, making it visible to an even bigger predator nearby. So the plankton's logic is brutally simple. If something is trying to eat you, switch on a spotlight and hope that something bigger comes along to eat your attacker instead. In the dark ocean, light itself becomes a weapon, but the glowing waves at the surface are only the beginning. To see where bioluminescence really rules, we have to go down, deep down. Below around 1,000 meters, the last of the sunlight disappears completely, and the ocean is plunged into total, endless darkness. And here's the staggering thing. This dark zone is by far the largest living space on the entire planet. Most of the room for life on Earth is down here, in the black. So in a place with no sunlight at all, how do creatures find food, escape danger, and find a mate? They make their own light. In fact, bioluminescence is so common down here that scientists estimate up to 90% of deep-sea creatures can produce light. In the deep ocean, glowing isn't unusual. It's the normal way of life. And down in that darkness, creatures use their light in astonishing ways. Take the famous anglerfish. It lives where it is pitch black, and it has evolved a glowing lure that dangles from a stalk right in front of its enormous mouth, like a fishing rod made of light. Curious little creatures, desperate for anything in the endless dark, are drawn towards the only glow they can see, and they swim straight into the anglerfish's jaws. But here's the twist. The anglerfish can't actually make light itself. Instead, its lure is packed full of glowing bacteria. The fish gives the bacteria a safe home and food, and in return, the bacteria provide the light. It's a tiny glowing partnership used to set a deadly trap in the dark. Now here's perhaps the cleverest trick of all. using light not to be seen, but to disappear. Imagine a small squid swimming in the dim twilight zone, with a hungry predator lurking below it, looking up. From down there, the predator sees the faint glow of the surface far above, and against that glow, the squid's body casts a dark, telltale shadow. So the squid does something brilliant. It produces a soft glow on its underside, its belly, that exactly matches the faint light coming from above. With its shadow erased, the squid simply melts into the background light and vanishes. Scientists call this counter-illumination. It is, quite literally, an invisibility cloak made of light. The squid hides itself not by going dark, but by glowing. But the strangest, rarest glow of all is something sailors have whispered about for centuries, and for a long time, no one believed them. They told stories of sailing, at night, into a sea that glowed. Not flashing waves, but a steady, eerie, uniform light, stretching in every direction all the way to the horizon, as if the ship were floating across a field of glowing snow. They called them Milky seas. For generations, these tales were dismissed as exaggerations. But then satellites proved them true. Milky seas are real, and they are colossal. They are created by unimaginable numbers of glowing bacteria, and a single one can cover an area larger than an entire country, glowing steadily for days, or even weeks. They are so vast that we can photograph them from space. When you put it all together, something amazing comes into focus. Bioluminescence does almost everything for the creatures of the dark. It lures prey, and it scares off predators. It hides the hunted and exposes the hunter. Some creatures squirt out a glowing cloud as a smokescreen to escape. Others flash special patterns to find a mate in the endless black. Light, down here, is a whole hidden language, and it may be the most common form of communication on the entire planet. And it's not just beautiful, it's useful to us, too. The glowing molecules first discovered in jellyfish went on to win a Nobel Prize, and today they help scientists light up living cells and study diseases. The ocean's glow is teaching us how to see the invisible. So, why does the ocean glow at night? Because it is alive, quietly, brilliantly alive, in a way most of us never see. From a single sparkling footprint on a dark beach, to glowing waves, to an anglerfish's deadly lantern, to a sea glowing wide enough to be seen from orbit, the dark ocean is filled with living light. It's a reminder that the most magical things on our planet aren't always far away in space. Sometimes, they're right here, hidden in the dark water just off the shore, waiting for a wave to set them sparkling. So the next time you're at the sea at night, look closely. You just might catch the ocean glowing back at you. If this lit you up, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.